All right, everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Journey with Michael and Ryan. Thanks for stopping by.
How are we doing, everyone? Hope you guys are having a beautiful week.
Hope you're having a great week. We launched these on Thursdays, so everybody's starting to gear up for that Friday energy. Every time they listen to us, so they're already starting to feel a little bit more jive.
For sure, brother. For sure.
So we hope you're having an amazing week, and we've got a bit of a treat for you. I know we say that every week, however, it is a treat. Always, the things we love to talk about close to our heart, because it has been one of the main processes for us to show up in the world as we do right now.
Totally, man. I mean, after rebirthing, the journey that we're going to be explaining or chatting into today, something we've spoken about already, but it's definitely has the most profound effect, I guess, for us personally, when it comes to our own just journey of self-discovery, right? The journey of understanding, the journey of letting go.
Yep. No, the deepest form of transformation outside of breathwork, obviously, is this plant medicine. And I mean, I personally have had a beautiful many-year journey with it now, and it's a pillar in my life, and it always will be, I think, now.
Totally.
Especially after going through our beautiful ceremony on Saturday night, just how different and how profound. And I don't say that word lightly. After this, it was very amazing. It's like I had a book, and I've been reading a book, and I've got through maybe a third of the way, and you think, yeah, I kind of know where the story's going. I see the characters, and you can see plot lines and things. And then I just got a new book thrown at me.
Totally.
And I think, oh, okay, all right, there it is.
New piece of the puzzle, baby.
New piece of the puzzle, new book, new game, new board, new puzzle.
Everything.
All the same.
So that is what we're going to be talking about today, like another journey through the realms of plant medicine, the experiences we had, the lessons we've learned, what we're going to take away, and I guess how we're going to be integrating into the world, right?
I think what I'd like to do is talk about why first, about why we're speaking about it.
Yeah,
so I think that's important as well, because there's lots of, I mean, especially the different people we listen to on different podcasts and on social media and things, and there's a bit of a growing trend. There's the psychedelic revolution that's happening, and lots more people talking about it, and I think it's a potent reason for us to speak about why we're doing it. So for me personally, why I love to speak about it, why I love to give it platform, is because of the huge changes that it has made in my life. Me as a human, me as a soul, me as an energy, me as a source. I couldn't see the world in the way that I see it now without it.
Totally.
And that's why I sit here and talk about it with such love, with such respect, with such reverence, because I've been guided so strongly in so many ways. And why I want to speak about it as well is because the way that it found me, I've spoken about it on another podcast, was through taking different actions, and literally the plant medicine found me. However, if someone can listen to this and they can hear how it's safe and how, and remove the stigma, remove the law from it, remove all of that. The taboo from it, and can hear it openly and authentically spoken about in a first-person experience, and then that gets them to reach out to us and say, hey, what's this about? Then that's why.
Totally, man. And for me, it's very, very similar reasons, because it's just like changing that taboo, changing that story, changing the narrative around it, because there can be a lot of negative stigma or around the use of plant medicines and around the use of ayahuasca, simply because people don't get it, people don't understand it, and it truly isn't one of those things that you can understand until you've had the experience with it, until you've been guided on a journey through it. Because it can be tainted in so many ways, right? It can be seen as being wrong. It can be seen as being like the devil's work, or, when you listen to the word shaman in like a Western from a Western standpoint, people are always going to potentially put a negative connotation to it. You know, anything outside of medicine is deemed to be wrong, right? And it's one of those things that it's like, it because there's no like maybe potentially like clinical data on it, people are like, oh well, if you know it hasn't been proven to work, so how can it actually work? You know, when realistically it's like the proof is in centuries and centuries of experience,
or millennia
of experience. You know?
Your solo podcast, you spoke about what medicine was called before medicine came in, before Big Pharma came in.
Totally.
And how then natural herbs and all of that has now become alternative.
100% essentially outlawed, right?
Yeah, and more so as well. Even here in New Zealand, they're starting to try and pass a natural products bill. Well, it's already started actually. I mean, let's not go down that rabbit hole today, but ultimately it's about putting more strangleholds on natural plants and herbs and natural medicines.
Yeah,
and
the natural ability we have to heal in front of us, right?
Yeah.
And going back to the roots, going back to nature, going back to the thing that most people have lost, and the thing that causes the most stress is just disconnection from the self, disconnection from a higher being or a higher source, disconnection from like God and spirituality, and our connection to the more meaningful things in life that we forget about because we simply don't know or never taught, or we get caught up in the rat race that is life, right? The constant need for more.
Yeah, and the things that you can figure out when you're in these different realms through these medicines, it's just something that can't be explained. Like you figure yourself out, which means you're figuring your life out, which means you're figuring your future out by figuring the present out.
For sure.
And the moving blocks of stones we don't dare unturn are significantly overturned and opened through sitting through ceremony, through sitting through ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And the mother ayahuasca, well, she will open up the places, and you ultimately have a choice as well. Like you'll go into things, and if there's something that is too hard or you're not ready to overturn, it doesn't force you into things. And this age-old adage of the thought processing of ayahuasca, when you speak to someone about it, or someone asks you about it or something like that, and they go, oh, isn't that the thing you just spew on and shit your pants with? How many times has someone said that to you?
Every time.
And I'm here to say it's not.
No.
It's really not. First of all, the purging, it's an energetic purge. It's actually stuff within your body.
Stored, stuck, and trapped energy, right?
So I had a purge on Saturday night, and I don't purge a lot of the many sits I've had. And I purged a lot of avoidance. There was a lot of avoidance of some things in my life, and it's just snowballing, and I sat with it, and it just wasn't really moving, and so I jumped up the front and asked for arape to help move it, and it slowly got it going, and then it purged, and I looked in the bucket, and it was black. It was black stuff from within my body, and I don't eat black food. There was no reason for it to be black. I fasted that day, had one meal the day before. And then I looked in the bucket after I had purged all of this dis-ease, and I could just see the little black gremlins just like sticky, and they were just like climbing up the side of the bucket. It's trying to get back in. And I mean, these things, these are actual things. I mean, it was actually black purge that came out of my body. Like, where did that come from, right? Like, so we're not sitting here going, oh, well, this is something that I saw, and like that's the actual physical reality of it. And then when you're in the different realms, when you're deep in the Mother Aya, you're seeing things through different lenses and open frames and different color networks and various different dimensions all at the same time. And then I just cried. It was such a beautiful moment of just allowing this release to have gone. And before then, the build up to it was she was just taking me through my current life at the moment. And then my thoughts got pulled outside of myself for the whole ceremony, and they sat outside of my mind. And as the work was going through my body with the Mother Aya going through, the thoughts were there, and they were just flickering, constant flicker, as they are, but they weren't a part of within me at that time. And so I could just look at them and see them objectively, and then look away again and go on what's going on inside me. And there was the times where something would come up, or a stone would get overturned, or she would take me through inside my own psyche or within my subconscious, and something that I was avoiding or not looking at, or something within my life, and I could feel my awareness like shift away from it. And then I'm like, no, back
Time
into
to
it.
go on.
Yeah, there it is. And then she would take me through like a root cause of it, of where it came from. And then I could see, then I'd like look up and I could see the thoughts going flickering away till there was a thought ideology with the process in my body, and then she would team the two together, and it would move it through. Or sometimes there would be something I'd overturn and there wouldn't be a thought process with it, so you go and then it's like, oh, there's nothing there. Okay, cool, just move that part through your body. So that was it was why I said it was really interesting in the beginning, because I had very little visuals this time. It was very in the body. It was very, very somatic. I didn't have the bloating and all of that. I could just feel it cleansing my body. Like all of my organs just got cleansed. It's going through. And the relationships in my life, friendships, relationships, they pop up. And then you sit there and you can work through yourself speaking to that person in the way of how you are. And then you can see yourself doing these things, and so you can then adjust the things that you want to adjust.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard to probably comprehend what I'm saying, because it's very hard to objectively communicate what the subjective is.
Totally.
But that's also part of the work as well. It's bringing that 5D into the 3D, so you can work with it. It can work with you.
100%. Learning to communicate the experiences as best you can, and like put thought or meaning to the things that potentially may have happened, because that just helps with the integration process. If you just went into the sit and then did nothing with it, didn't try to do some self-reflection on like, okay, why is it that happened? Where do I need to change? What needs to shift within me? Then it's just like you're just doing a thing for the sake of doing a thing, right?
Yeah, you're just seeking the experience.
Totally.
Which this ceremony was very powerful with everybody that sat there. So yeah, it was a big one. And again, I'm just thinking out loud in real time, because it's only been 24 hours basically.
Yeah, totally.
And I can even hear my voice. It's lower. It's different. And again, so it was a very beautiful sit. I wrote some poetry. It just kind of just dumped out of me at one point. I was like, oh yeah, let's go. So that was really nice. But I think, and we spoke about this after, the amount of kind of, deep inner child core wound work we've done over the years has been very profound and very constant. And so when I go and sit in ceremony, it's not necessarily, childhood traumas and all that sort of stuff popping up anymore. I mean, there's always more, and there's always root causes of why you are like you are. So there's always the warrant of fitness, to go and do. Every now and then it's like, oh, you got to get your brake pads done. Oh, you got to get new tires. And that's kind of where it's at with that. And so, but I've earned the right to be able to have those types of sits now.
Yeah, totally.
With some of the processes I've been through with her, and that's epic. I really enjoy that. But yeah, other than that, there was so much more to learning with the medicine. There was a deep connection of reverence again with the medicine, because it was such a different way. I had never felt it in this way before. It was such a different way that she came on, and the processes and all of that. And so I got to dance outside of the internal work that's happening. I got to dance with this beautiful medicine as well, and see it in a different light, and see her in a different form, and just feel like the ancient, what would you say, the ancient lineage from it too. And so for me, it's a beautiful process, dance, all of that, where that can just all amalgamate into one beautiful ceremony, and just the music and all of the performance of the people. And so if you're sitting here thinking I'm a lunatic, or you're sitting here thinking, oh, he's doing something stupid and why would you do that, then that's okay. I love you for that. That's fine. And if there's someone sitting there going, oh, I've heard about this before, and what do I do? How do I do it? It's like, okay, well, just message and we can share it.
Totally. The medicine will always find you at the perfect time that you need it, right? Whenever you're pushing, whenever you're fighting for it, it's quite often not the time, right? Because you're just going in with it potentially with ego. But if you're soft with it, it finds a way to find you. You'll know when the time is right. And for some people and most people, the time will never be right, and that's totally fine. Because there's so many different ways to do life, right? There's so many different ways to live, and this is merely just the way in which we share and experience our journey through it all, right?
And we're certainly not advocating anybody to go and do anything that we're talking about today.
No, totally not. This is our experience. This is our journey. We're just sharing with you guys what we do, the way we play the game, the journey we're on. And the grandmother is forever going to be a big part of that, because it's such a powerful teacher. She's so kind, so soft, so gentle, so hard, so rough, so abusive, all at the same time. She knows how to coddle you and also kick your butt right at the same time, and it's beautiful. For me, it was another powerful sit. And probably the biggest thing that I took away from it was like the dialogue that I was able to like have with her, and just to be able to sit and like communicate with her what's going on, and like, it's not like being the guide of it, but just like being in the experience, but totally detaching myself from it. So as I was moving through processes or moving through things, I wasn't getting caught up in them like I had in the past. It was just like, okay, I know this is the process. I know this is what I'm going to have to go through. There's going to be some pain. There's going to be some suffering. I know the places where she's tried to challenge me in the past, and I've sort of fallen on my own sword in certain ways. But this time I was just like, whatever come up, I was just open to have the conversation with her about, and just really see where it came from. And it was beautiful, man. Like, I sat there for the first moment, and like I just like a castle was just built around me. Like, I seen all the bricks just being laid, and I seen the stairs going up, and I like walked up the stairs, and it was like I was becoming a king. And it was like a beautiful energy. There was lots of people with no faces in the crowd. My partner Van my queen, was standing right next to me. Mike was on the other side as well, and she put a cape, like a coat on me and the crown on my head, and she was like, "How do you want to rule?" And then she just guided me through this journey of like all these different places where I had like embodied leadership, and where I hadn't, and where I was falling off, and maybe falling into other people's form of leadership. And it's beautiful because that actually ties into my human design as well. A big one of my life paths is finding my form of leadership. So it was beautiful that those two things intertwined, and I was able to like land on a place and be shown where I was embodying it and where I wasn't embodying it. And it was beautiful because in the places that I wasn't embodying it, I was able to just go to her, ask the question like, okay, why is it that I struggle to embody it in this way? And she'd just like shoot me back to a memory, shoot me back to a situation where that had come from, and I had created like stories or an aspect of my personality around it. It was, it was beautifully profound. Beautifully profound.
one of the really big things I've learned from doing so many sits with the mother is you get what you ask for.
Totally.
Always. You always get what you ask for. You just need to ask.
Totally.
And you've got to have the courage to ask.
For sure.
That's the big thing. And that's such a metaphor for life as well, right? Got to have the courage to ask for what you want.
Yeah, how can the people close to you know what you want or give you what you want if you've never actually even communicated it, right? Like no one's here to be a mind reader. Not at all. And it was beautiful, and so it was really cool because the place that I sort of landed on when it comes to leadership was just the word compassion. Like to be compassionate in what I do, to be understanding in what I do, and to lead from that way. That was sort of the guidance that she gave me. It's beautiful.
What do you think are going to be? Well, let's go this route first. Integration. You may or may not have heard that word before. It's a word that's thrown around quite a bit. Actually, a friend of ours, she's writing a book on integration. Actually,
Who's it?
I didn't know what integration meant for a while.
Totally.
But only half the work's done in the actual ceremony.
Totally.
Even less. The actual hard work is the integration. So integration for me personally means the application of what you have learned and the whispers or the messages or the loud punches that you've been given in the messages for you to act upon. And that's the actual work, because that's the changing of yourself. That's the changing of bad habits. That's formulation of new habits. That's changing your mannerisms, your personality to fit into the person who you want to become, because you may have shed some older versions of yourself or older programs and patterns. And it's like, well, what are you going to create in the place of those? Or they will creep back in.
Totally.
And that's as simple as that.
It's like the embodiment of the lessons learned, right? And the beautiful thing with the grandmother is like it's not just like a cognitive click. It's like a somatic shift, you know, that because throughout those purges, as I was going through those experiences, I would be guided by the music, and whenever a song would end and I'd be going through a process, there would be a purge, and it was just like getting and releasing that energy, and releasing that stuckness or that past experience that was stopping me from embodying the lesson, right, or moving through the experience that was there.
So to all the listeners here, you all purge just in normal life as well. It's just that this happens to be from within the body. If you allow frustration to build up and you crack and you explode, that's a purge. That's an energetic purge. If you allow grief or sadness to build up and then you all of a sudden just break down, that's a purge. Yeah. It's an energetic purge. So the purge in this case is where we are creating the purge. We're cleansing our body with the energetic purge. We're choosing to allow it to happen, not being a victim of our subconscious purging.
Yeah.
And so
it involves crying throughout the ceremony, you know, weeping throughout the ceremony. Lots of that, you know, because you're reliving the experience and the trauma, whether it was small or large, as you're going through it, right? And if you allow yourself to just truly feel it when you're going through the experience, you cry, you weep, you know, you sit in sadness and sorrow, you let the psyche just be shattered away, you know, broken down completely.
Or the opposite happens. You have a joygasm.
Oh, yeah.
You sit in absolute joy.
Oh, bliss.
And your smile is bigger than a Cheshire cat. And
sure.
The tears that come are diamond because you're just so happy and you're experiencing absolute joy, and it's an orgasm times 1,000, but just within the whole body, and you're just sitting there and you're just an absolute, and you go, yeah, this is what I repress just as much as all of the other, you know, air quote negative emotions.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful to have those experiences as well. And I had a couple of those on Saturday night. And you just sit there and just gratitude just flooded over me of just my life and the people in it and the creation of it and just who I am and how I got to this very moment. And it was a beautiful, absolute check-in of myself, especially with what I was moving through as well, and just radical ownership. It's nothing and everything to be scared of at the same time.
Yeah. Well, because the only thing you're scared of yourself and what potentially could come up, right?
It's the biggest demon you're ever going to face is yourself.
Totally.
And I had myself sitting there. I literally myself pulled out of myself, and I was there. It's like I was looking in a mirror, and I was looking at me, and I was like scanning up and down, and there were things going. Okay, what am I holding on to? What is it that I want to let go? What am I choosing? What am I identifying as? And I went through, and there's some things there that I've already let go, and there's some changes that I've already made, and there's some big changes that are going to happen after this podcast as well, that are like, okay, I that's the calling. I trust this. The things that are happening in my life, when something like today happens, it sprouts up again, and I'm like, wow, that's super interesting. It's not coincidence. It's not accidental. It's like, yeah, okay. And then moving in. And so this state of reverence that I'm sitting in right now, because it's, 24 hours later, I'm really like, okay. And I feel scared to do it, because it's like, well, I'm comfortable and it's serving me, but is it really? And is it just blocking up room for the things that I really want to bring in and actually calling in? Because it's all happening for a reason. Or it's not actually happening for a reason as well.
It's whatever you want to put on it, Michael.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
That old cliche of everything happened for a reason. Well, I mean, I can adhere to that, but I also can't adhere to that, because we're sovereign beings of creating our own souls and destinies. However, we're also divinely guided, and everything is already mapped out, right?
Totally, bro. What is free will?
Well,
but taking the step on the path that was already created for us. Right?
Exactly, right? So yeah, there's a little philosophical, tactical for your noodle, sitting with that.
Triple over that one.
Yeah.
We'll save that one for the next sit.
We shall.
I'll ask, what is free will?
Yeah. You might not like the answer, though.
That's all right. Sometimes I don't like the answers. You could be cheeky, man.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful experience, and very similar for me. I sat for a lot of the ceremony and appreciation and understanding why I actually couldn't appreciate myself, and understanding where that had come from. And like a few things had happened coming up to the ceremony where like people had like truly honored me. Clients and breathwork clients had like said some really, really amazing things about me, and I'd like fully taken it in and like happy with it, but there was still like a contraction around it. So as we were going through the ceremony, I asked the question. I was like, why is it hard for me to acknowledge when I'm being appreciated? And she just took me to that point, like took me to a place where that was birthed, where that was born, where I didn't feel like I was enough, and just guided me through that experience. I wept, I cried, I purged, and then ultimately after that, I just felt my heart just boom, crack open, expand, and just wore a smile on my face, and just got to sit in all the geodetic domes and colours and everything that was the joy of celebrating yourself. And it's really funny, you're explaining this thing in about 30 seconds, but it's probably like an hour to a 2-hour process for you to just slowly get to this place and unwind and unpack and miss and hit and everything. It's, time is I don't know, it's just lost. It's
gone. Yeah, you have no idea what the time frame is. I also had a really deep experience when the didgeridoo was being played. And the sound that came from it, and by the master facilitator who was playing it, it literally went through my body, and it literally absorbed into my body and went all the way up, and it just kept flowing into like a circle, and I had these like colourful circles I was moving in through to the portal, and then I could literally feel my nervous system just unwinding, like my whole body just started to shake. and I was just sitting there allowing it to happen whilst my thoughts were outside of my mind and they were flickering through. And I just sat there and I was like, this is so epic, because my body is literally being healed just by sitting here and by having this music and by taking this medicine or this sacrament.
The vibration just matched perfectly.
It did. It really did. And my nervous system just unwound until I just was just this beautiful, sitting, present human. And it was so epic. You know, and I'm not giving it any justice by explaining it right now. But that was just another deep moment that I experienced that I haven't really experienced. Like, I've gone to sound bath journeys and sound journeys and things like that before, but
not that same sort of feeling.
But not like that.
Yeah. Not that energetic shift. I've felt it in one sound healing before, where literally I was just a mess on the floor at a cacao ceremony and sound healing, and literally it took me 20 minutes to get up from my mat after everyone else had already left, and I was just like shaking on the floor, still just going through process. So I totally get what you mean, and it's just like it just energetically just like hits or finds like a crack within you, and it just like opens it up and just expands it and unravels it. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It really is. If you listen to us every week, you can definitely feel our vibration, our energy. It's just very present and
I feel soft.
Yeah, really soft. I feel very soft. I had a really beautiful conversation with a sister who was in the ceremony, who I've done lots of sits with as well, and afterwards. But the mother really took me to the point of my own feminine healing and the feminine wound and just the deep journey that I've had with that, and just she showed me all of the female friendships and connections I have in my life, and they are all so deep and they are all so beautiful and they're all so safe. And then reflected on the relationship I have with my mum now, and just how that has really blossomed and just really present and lovely and loving. And that's down to the medicine. That's down to the mother. That's down to the ayahuasca, helping me heal that wound and have these beautiful relationships with women in my life now. I mean, obviously I don't have a partner at the moment, but that will change. But when I do end up having a partner, or however it needs to look, that's the relationship is far beneficial. Is always going to benefit from this deeper work, because it makes me a safer man. It makes me a safer leader. It makes me, more of a king, like you were talking about as well. Like, I've had lots of different king stuff come up in various sits lately as well, and that's what the world needs more of, is more safe men. And there was some powerful men constantly doing the work. So if you listen to this and you're a woman, there are powerful men out there who are doing their work. They are, and there are more and more stepping up, and I'm so proud of them.
Totally,
I really am.
I would be comfortable to say there was probably more men there than women in this set.
There probably was.
Yeah, looking around the room and the conversations that we had with people, it's like, it's beautiful to see, because they're doing the real work.
It really is beautiful to see. And I guess that's another reason of the why right now. It's the world needs more of that.
Totally.
More safe men.
Totally.
Stepping up. And yeah, it really opened my heart. I'm actually feeling a little bit emotional just talking about it. Actually,
I can feel that too. Beautiful, brother. And it is the work, and it's something that we had spoken about, right? Like, even our own connection with the masculine. We both have such a deep, safe presence with the feminine, which is beautiful, and it's needed, and it's been such a massive part of our work with rebirthing is knowing and understanding the wounds that they do have, and I guess finding the safety within ourselves, finding the trust within ourselves, so that other people can feel that too, right? And then just bringing that more into the masculine world. How can we actually start to make not just defend, but make an impact on the way in which the masculine shows up?
Yep. Yeah, there you go. And again, that's another beautiful drop-in from Mother Aya. I mean, that was what I find that she does is, if there's like a little ruminating idea that's percolating around that needs to be bigger or brought out, or you're kind of like, it's an idea, but I'm not really going to take action on it, but it's something that is aligned with your values or something that you know you need to do, she will boost it up 1,000 times and make it at the forefront and go, hey, you thought about this, you created this, like follow through on this, because this is the pathway. And so that's where she lights up the pathways for your life. So it gives you kind of answers of where to direct your life, because you're like, oh, like if I take that path and I take those actions, it's going to lead me there, and you can see it. Or if I don't, your choice either way, but I'm lighting this path for you.
Totally. And the lesson will probably just come if you don't next time you sit anyway, you know. There's often, if you don't act on the guidance that the mother gives you, she's just going to remind you again, right? It's like your mum telling you to clean your room. If you forget to do it, she's going to tell you to do it until you've done it, right?
Yeah.
And that's beautiful, because that's even like just building respect and understanding. Like I chose not to sit multiple times before this ceremony simply because I hadn't acted on the takeaways from the previous one, you know. And like for me, that's like integrity, right? Otherwise you're just chasing the dragon. You're just trying to do it for the sake of doing it, not actually do it to heal and to grow and to expand and to bring more of yourself into the world. So some definite beautiful lessons that have come through in this one, not as hard and as strong as the previous ones, but just like subtle shifts, you know. A degree over a long time is a massive change.
It is. And it's a degree more than where you were whatever day before.
Totally.
And so that means you're a degree closer, or degree, what's the best way to put this? You're a degree sharper towards the life, human person you wanting to create.
Or you already were.
Dun,
dun, dun.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, man. And there were so many other beautiful things that happened as well, actually. It was, I got to see what life will be like as a father. I got to see my partner bearing our children, which was beautiful. Like I was just overcome with bliss and joy. And just got to see what else was possible in life. You know, the beautiful things that we're planning to create, and the things that we're doing with Beta, and the interactions, the people, the connection, the impact that we're going to make was just laid out in front of me. And it was beautiful to see that. And because I merely just asked the question, like, grandmother, show me what's possible. And she just showed me everything that was possible. And it was beautiful. And like, to sit back and be like, man, if this is a life that's possible for me, I'm fucking proud of everything that I've done to get to this point, to be able to make that even a possibility. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Laid it out for you. And that's what it is. Yeah. And the connections you have with people who sit with you as well. Like, you don't even talk, but the connection. And so you get to learn a little bit about what kind of non-verbal communication is, because you have these deep experiences with yourself, with others around you in the circle, but yet you're having the same but different process, but the deeper connection with all these people. It's really interesting. I can't really put it into words right now, but it's a different human form of connecting. It's a different human form of communication.
Totally.
It's more like telepathy.
Yeah, for sure. The way we used to talk before we had words, right?
Yeah. What do you think are going to be, you know, if any, a couple of main action points over the next little while?
Just deepening relationships, communication, making time, and what else? Yeah, those are probably it. Like, having greater communication with my partner. We're both living very busy lives. She's doing shift work now, so actually spending time planning when we're going to be hanging out together, knowing and understanding her schedule, and allowing myself to be flexible around that, you know, to make more time with her and for her. Another one was to make more time with friends, like make more time with Mike, just to hang out, or other males friends as well, just merely to hang out, you know, no agenda, nothing like that, just plan lads trips, go out and do the manly things. Or simply just hang out, chat, and converse, guide each other through whatever life is currently throwing people through. Those were probably the two main takeaways. And then just, the leadership aspect, just understand my form of leadership, and then just allow myself to embody that more.
What do you think your form of leadership is?
It's definitely like a softer form of leadership. It's as I said, it's like more based around compassion. So for me, that's about understanding and acknowledging people's genius, and then also offering help and support. That's something that if there's something to be done, I'll just do it because I trust my own capability. So learning to communicate and support and help people grow instead of just focusing on the next task. That's where the lesson is for me. Totally.
Beautiful.
Totally.
It's a very kingship way of leadership. Lots of empathy in there.
Huge amounts.
Yeah, and it's just taking action on the things
and honouring that will ultimately just make things go slower than if I did them. Because then there's actually growth. There's communication, there's the ability for other people to grow and learn, which is all beautiful things.
Nice, man.
And that means that ultimately your empire will be stronger because you've actually spent time building everyone else up, instead of just holding all the power yourself.
Yeah, that's epic. Nice insight.
How about you, brother? What do you feel like your big actions and takeaways from this last sit were?
I've got a big action I'm going to take tonight. I've decided.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's it. That's staring at me in the face too hard, and it's slapped me in the physical today as well. Of going, okay, right, this is clearly something I need to look at and make amends to, and I've sat with it all day. And I've allowed it. I've not reacted. I've spoken to you about it. I've spoken to Shanna about it. So I've really gathered my tribe for it, and so I've decided that I'm going to move through with that.
Cool.
I've already started on a couple of things I was avoiding, basic life things, because I can get myself busy, and I can get myself so busy that I just end up doing nothing. And especially, I'm in a rest period right now as well, so that adds extra weight to it. So small things like just keep my bathroom clean, keep my bedroom clean, keep the house clean. Just the little life things, right, that we can just all avoid. And those little avoidances all add up because you walk past them every day.
Totally.
And because if you're constantly focusing on the big picture, then the smaller the baseline crumbles away. Then what are you left with?
Totally, it's like that adage of like, it's not what you do, it's what you walk past that shows who you truly are. Yep.
And so that's the little things, and there's and like. Fitness has been a huge part of my life. It is a huge part of my life, but in the last 4 weeks, I've really let that slip as well because I've added things into my day. So I've been avoiding kind of just wearing that and being like, okay, cool. Well, let's just start again. It's been 4 weeks, so let's go.
It's even like putting it in your calendar, right? You just haven't been putting things in your calendar just so that you don't hold yourself accountable to it, or like, it's not something I didn't do because it wasn't in my calendar.
Yeah, and I've you and me both the same. We've got very busy lives, and so if it's not in my calendar, it's forgotten. And so I just won't put things in my calendar. So it's going back to using the calendar. So again, it's just general avoidance, and that's just something that I can let snowball very quickly, but I can catch it very quickly.
Yeah. What do you, I know you probably haven't put much thought into it, but even just giving yourself an opportunity to think about it now, like what's the potential repercussions if you don't act and do? Like how are you going to hold yourself accountable to it, to actually do it?
it's going to be, again, the external tools that I can use. And so it's making the entrances into my calendar. It's potentially sitting down and creating a new schedule on my Sunday and just go, I'm going to plan my week out.
Yep.
It's getting someone like you to be like, hey, look, here's a couple of things I need you to make sure I'm accountable for on these times and days. Put it in your calendar to ask me and make sure they're done. If they're not done, then, grill me about it. And it's just generally holding myself to the better standard and just creating that bigger purpose why for myself again.
Yeah.
And that's what it's coming down to.
Where do you think the avoidance comes from?
The avoidance comes from, it's a good question. Where does it come from? It comes from when I was a kid. If I didn't feel safe to own up to anything, because there would be such deep repercussions even on little things. I didn't feel safe about owning up to things, and so then I would just hide them.
Yeah.
I would avoid them.
Yeah. Pretend like that was never a thing to do in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of just being like, oh, okay, sorry, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Or sorry, I didn't do that. Or even just sorry, I forgot.
Yep, definitely.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm just going through this in real time right now. Yeah, there's definitely that. It's definitely I didn't feel safe to be able to own up to things because it would just, like even just small things would be blown out of proportion. And so that's what brought me as quite for who I am now. I was quite a shy kid. But then again, like I'm an interesting character. Like I've got, neuroses and things like that I'm just really starting to discover now. And obviously my human design obviously doesn't really get me to fit into a lot of places. So there's always been the sense of unworthiness because I'm not doing things the same way as other people, and then I would try and do things the same way as other people, and then it doesn't work for me.
Totally.
And so, or I would do something the same as other people, and I'd do it way better than them.
Yeah.
and then they would, I'd be ostracized again because
Totally.
So yeah, that's where my avoidance comes from. When it comes, and there's probably still an unworthiness attached to it as well, I guess, because that was a word that popped up during the ISIT as well.
Yeah.
And like a few days before too, like it was germinating.
Yeah. She was sort of bringing it up for you already, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Already starting to make the soup.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's all tied into that, where exactly there's no one real pinpointed time. I think it's just a general overlander of my upbringing experience that and hence and you can pick my attachment type, like I'm an island, so I'm very independent, so I can avoid things,
Totally.
I can just go and do my thing, but I like doing my things in my time as well. So it's, again, this is where the plant medicines are beautiful, because they really do just show you more and more about yourself, so you can understand more and more about yourself, and so you can share more and more about yourself to others around you, so they can understand you more. Totally,
brother. And that's like that communication, and understanding when you do need help, and acknowledging when you do need help and support, and what you need help and support in. And it's like, for you, it's like, even like when the avoidance comes up, it's just like, okay, even just asking the inner child aspect of yourself, like, how can I actually support you through this? What can I do to make you feel safe so that you don't avoid even having the conversation around the thing you haven't done? And even if that conversation is with yourself, cleaning the bathroom or going to the gym, how can you nurture that little Mikey?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. That's it, and so I've just been sitting in all that all day, and it's been beautiful, and obviously this big big kind of life change. Well, not really life change, but it's a big change that I'm going to go through, and I'm going to put that through tonight, you know. But again, I reached out to two of the closest people in my life first beforehand.
Totally.
I just said, hey, I want to get your thoughts and feelings on this. This is where I'm at. And this is on the back of, she really showed me and told me, like, you need to tell people more about how you're feeling.
Yeah, beautiful.
Like, big time.
Totally.
Like you've got to get better at that. It's not something that comes easily and natural to me, but nothing does, right?
No.
And you've got to, everything's a practice and everything's a going. So it's just, yeah, she just dropped me into that, and she just showed me through some past relationships, times, and friendships and family ships that I'd gone through, that there were times where I didn't front up and share exactly how I was feeling, and then from there, then it turns into avoidance. It turns into me retreating to my island, and it turns into me just putting up my armor and just retreating into myself. And I'm happy, but no one else around me is.
Yeah, totally.
And
it's like a snowball.
It's a snowball. It's a very fast snowball. I'm quite lucky it can be a fast snowball, because it doesn't take long. It doesn't take me like a year to all of a sudden be like, oh shit, I've actually burned my life down. It's like, okay,
you're burning it down
because I run
weeks.
Because I run such a high levels that within just a few weeks or even a month, it's like, oh yeah. And so that's where going and sitting with the Mother Aya, she just regenerates your life force. She just builds you up. There's no judgment there ever, and it's just feeling warmth and loved. It's a beautiful mother, grandmother energy that you have, that you get when you drink.
Yeah, totally, brother. She's there in total support of every single person that's in there. It's beautiful because it's such a separate journey, but she's working her fucking magic on a room full of people all at the same time. Yeah. And it's beautiful because she can morph herself into to many different layers and chapters all at the same time. Like, she's a powerful creature.
She's been here a lot longer before us.
Oh, for sure.
She's been here a lot longer after we're gone.
She's heard it all. She's seen it all. She's probably worked through every single situation and scenario. That's how she knows how to get you out of it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I always love the dialogue with her as well. It's like there's a real... I always get real cheeky with her. But she really loves it. It's like this fun little play of that we have. Like, even when we're like working through something, I'll be like, oh, I don't know if that's it, and she's like, I'm pretty sure it's it. I'm like, oh, but what if we like look down this path and like go down this way and be like, oh, what if I did this? And she's like, you don't need to fucking do anything. And I'm like, but maybe I know. Yeah. It's funny. I love it. But no, it was beautiful, brother. It was powerful. It's a tool that I'm so grateful to have in my life, and the people that I've connected through the experiences of it, and the space holders. And I feel in such honor and reverence to not only the medicine but the people in the community as well. Like, it's a beautiful thing, and it's like, how can we make this grow? How can we deepen the connection? How can we use the tools and the abilities that we have to not so much like bring the medicine to more people, but get it into the hands of the people that are ready to find it? Or
how can we take our learnings and teachings out into the world?
Yeah, totally. Because that's the biggest impact, right? That's how you get it, right? When people ask the questions of like, man, you're doing pretty solid. Like, what have you done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing, right?
Yeah, totally.
That's our life's mission.
100%. And for me personally, whenever people talk to me about ayahuasca and I ask them if they tried it before, and if they say no, I said, have you tried breath work? And if they say no, I'm saying, man, settle in for a few breathwork sessions first.
100%.
Learn to know your breath. Learn to understand that. Learn what you can do with the power of your breath and the exogenous transfer of DMT that guides us and allows us to move through before you start to look for the externals and the big plays, right? Do the work. Learn how to journal. Become a little bit more self-aware, because you have all the power within you. It's just like the grandmother is just there merely to support and advance and show you aspects of yourself that maybe you're not ready to be able to hold yourself in. So learn to hold yourself in different places first. Learn to to communicate. Learn the subtle nuances of the breath, because the breath is a massive part of it as you're going through the journey. If you don't have a relationship with your breath, you're going to probably be, more often than not, you're going to get lost. You're going to get caught up in it because you don't have that anchor point, that point of reference to bring you back to center.
If anyone comes up and asks me about Aya or anything like that, that's definitely the first thing I ask is, have you done breath work? And said no. I go, great. That's where you start. Go and start with some breath.
Totally.
And it's not less, it's not better. It's just learn what you can do first.
Totally.
Take those first few steps, get into the breath, and then move into your different plant medicines however you see fit.
Totally. Well, it's been a beautiful journey, brother. It's many lessons from this, and as you say, it's only been 24 hours since we've really started integrating it and having conversations about it. And even just last night, sitting and going playing a few games of chess and drinking some kava, just to ground ourselves back into the energy of movement and everything else that we want to do with life. It's like the integration's only really just begun. This is probably the longest we've spoken about it.
Yeah, it is. We've both just
diving deep into it and understanding it in real time.
Yeah.
Because we weren't doing it today.
No.
No one to talk to.
No. No way. We just went about our business, right? It's certainly interesting. But yeah, epic nonetheless. But yeah, I appreciate you sharing, brother, because it's such a taboo topic, but yet it's so normal for us. Totally. But because of the stigma on it, it's always going to be taboo. So the more we can just speak about our personal experience, the more the people feel safe about it, and the more this beautiful medicine can heal the world. Just
totally,
by
brother.
One person at a time.
One person at a time.
Yeah.
There's a reason that it's here. There's a reason that these two plants from different parts of the jungle found or were guided to be combined in a very, very specific way. The Icaros, the music that was made around it, is like it's been happening for a long time, and it's meant to be here.
Yeah, it does. Well, brother, I think that's us.
It's a beautiful place to wrap up.
I think so. It's been a very soft night, and definitely feel deeper in our brotherhood.
Always.
For going through these things together.
Or even just not sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I had to go back twice before the ceremony started, give you a hug, let's go,
but
brother.
It was brilliant. Yeah. I loved it. It was really great. And it just deepens our bond every time we go and do something, because it forces us to sit with ourselves, but then because we're such pivotal parts in each other's life, of course, those pivotal people are always going to show up. So you're working out how to be a better friend, a better brother, a better lover, a better partner, a better friend. You know what I mean? It's
totally.
And so the pivotal people are going to always gain from it. And if you're doing it with the pivotal person at the same time, then they're gaining as well. And it's just all there is love, just totally. deeper love, and more expansive of love, and the expansion of God and source and all of the things. Even that word God, I mean, it's such a triggering word for people. It triggered me for most of my life. But really understanding about what God and source and creating my own life philosophy on it, it's beautiful. And I have done that thanks to plant medicines.
Totally.
Because you can feel it.
No, you feel it. You see it. You are it, right? Yeah. It's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful life, brother. Beautiful journey. And I too honor you, brother, for the lessons, the guidance, the wisdom. Yeah, man. And it's an honor to walk beside you.
It certainly is, brother. Aho.
Aho.
See you next week, people.
Love you, everyone.